children, they took the children and the women. You lost, that's why you women, you've been around, you've been pretty much handed off over to every nation because you were like a spoil. That's when they say a spoil, that means when the men lost, we lost, they took our women and children. And you were captive just like it was in slavery here. Anything went on. So it says, and cried, let's see, where am I?
12. Yeah, on 12, on verse 12.
Verse 12, and cried to the Most High Power of Israel, all with one consent, earnestly, that he would not give their children for a prey, and their wives for a spoil, and the cities of their inheritance to destruction, and the sanctuary to profanation and reproach, and for the nations to rejoice at. So the Most High heard their prayers when they cried to him with humility, and looked upon their afflictions. For the people fasted many days in all Judea and Jerusalem before the sanctuary of the Most High Power Almighty. See? And Joacim the high priest, and all the priests that stood before the Most High, and they which ministered unto the Most High, had their loins girt with sackcloth, and offered the daily burnt offerings, with the vows and free gifts of the people, and had ashes on their mitres, which is their mitre, like I have one, and cried unto the Most High with all their power, that he would look upon all the house of Israel graciously, with grace, giving them something that they don't deserve. It goes back, as he's talking about what the Most High done. Look at Judah 5, and we'll start at 11. Therefore the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh, rose up against them and dealt subtilly with them, and brought them low with laboring in brick, and made them slaves. Talking about we was in Egyptian captivity, all 12 tribes. Then they cried unto their power. I hope y'all hearing this. This is the only time the Most High had pity on us. And he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. And the Most High dried the Red Sea before them, and brought them to Mount Sinai and Kadesh Barn, and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength all them of Esabon, and passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country. And they cast forth before them the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Jebusite, the Shishimite, and all the Girgasites, and they dwelt in the country many days. And while they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because the Most High that hateth iniquity or sin was with them. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, that's departed away from the laws that the Most High gave us, his covenant, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captive into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemy. So how are we going to come out of this captivity we in now if we don't come back to the laws of the Most High and be obedient to him? It's not going to happen, people. This is a man telling his governor, his general, about us. Verse 19, but now are they returned to their power like we are. Hopefully, Most High will you continue in following his law, such commandments, and being obedient. This is the power. But now are they turned to their power and are come up from the places where they were scattered and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, listen to this closely, my power and governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin, which is transgression of the Most High's laws, against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. Read it again. Now therefore, my power, you think about how we're taught we're not under the law of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Now therefore, my power and governor, if there be any error in this people by not obeying the Most High's laws, statutes, commandments, and they sin, which is a transgression of the Most High's laws, against their power, the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, let us consider that this, by us sinning against the Most High, being disobedient to the Most High, shall be their ruin. And let us go up, and we shall overcome them. Why do you think we so overcome right now? Because we're not following the Most High. I'm talking about as a people overall. We as the children of Israel that's coming back to the laws and applying them in our life and following and doing his laws, we have that promise of protection from the Most High, if it's his will. But, he said, if there be no iniquity in this nation, where we're coming right now, as we're rehearsing the righteous acts, let my power now pass by. Leave them alone. Let their power, the Most High, while Mashiach Yahushua and the spirits, our spirits, defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. That's where we at right now, y'all. That's why you hear me say they concerned about us. They gotta be concerned about the Most High and the spirits that he have on this earth, ready for his command. They know about that. I'm talking about the elite. They know what they gotta fight. They know who they gonna fight. Because it's all here. That's why I say, if it's not us, we don't have power. We just have spiritual power. And that spiritual power is what you just heard, all those that have ears to hear and eyes to see and ears to hear. See, look, Ecclesiastes 39 and 28. There be spirits. These are angels. It's on page 94. There be spirits that are created for vengeance. These are angels that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Oh yeah, they're going to appease the wrath of the Most High. While Mashiach Yahushua, fire. You know, they mess with us. They got to deal with the Most High sending fire from heaven, like he had before. This ain't nothing new. Fire through lightning, or fire coming through hell. He's done that before. Look how he burned up Sodom and Gomorrah. 5 cities. Still ruined today. Fire and hail and famine and death. All these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth. You hear that? These spirits, these angels are where? Upon earth. when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. They always gonna be obedient. They will not transgress the Most High's word. So that's what they got to be concerned with. We just have to make sure that we in line and obedient to the Most High. Look at this. In 2 Maccabees, the 12th chapter, in the 37th verse. And this is all warfare. Judas Maccabees, great warrior, that him and his boys regained the temple back for us. Verse 37, 2 Maccabees 12 and 37. And with that he began in their own language, which is Hebrew, and sung psalms with a loud voice, and rushing unawares upon gorge of men, he put them to flight, made them run. They fled. So Judas gathered his host, his army, and came into the city of Odalium. And when the seventh day came, they purified themselves as the custom was, and kept the Sabbath in the same place. See? The seventh day was the Sabbath, just like it is now. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Like we keep the Sabbath on the seventh day. This is what we did. So you can see we were together. When we were together, we did things together, and it had power. That's why I was telling you about our language. Things other than Hebrew and translate to another language have not the same force in it. So are there any questions in the comments? I mean, this is powerful when you look at this. Look at 2 Maccabees 10 and 25. But when he drew near, they that were with Maccabeus turned themselves to pray unto the Most High, and sprinkled earth upon their heads, and girded their loins with sackcloth, and fell down at the foot of the altar, and besought him to be merciful to them, and to be an enemy to their enemies, and an adversary to their adversaries, as the law declared. So after the prayer, they took their weapons and went on further from the city. And when they drew near to their enemies, they kept by themselves. They stayed to themselves. Now the sun being newly risen, they joined both together. The one part having together with their virtue, their refuge also unto the Most High, for a pledge of their success and victory. The other side making their rage leader of their battle. Listen. But when the battle waxed strong, there appeared unto the enemies from heaven 5 comely men upon horses. 5 handsome men upon horses, with bridles of gold, and 2 of them led the Jews, and took Maccabeus between them, and covered him on every side with their weapons, and kept him safe, but shot arrows and lightnings against the enemies, so that being confounded with blindness from the lightning and full of trouble, they were killed. And they were slain of footmen 20,500, and 600 horsemen. As for Domitius himself, he fled into a very stronghold called Gazara, where Shirus was governor. You see that? Mosai bought 5 angels. Yeah. You could say they ready on the earth, y'all. Those 5 men were angels. Let me see y'all bring some lightning. To blind the men. You know what it says, right? Verse 30. And took Maccabeus between them, and covered him on every side with their weapons, and kept him safe, but shot arrows and lightnings against the enemies, so that being confounded, confused with blindness, they couldn't see, and full of trouble from that lightning and that brightness of the light, they were killed. That's our power. That's being in the spirit. Look at this. Book this in 2 Maccabees 5:1. Listen. About the same time, Antiochus prepared his second voyage into Egypt. It's a wicked sucker. It's a wicked Edomite. Antiochus Epiphanes. And then it happened that through all the city, for the space almost of 40 days, y'all hear this? The space of almost 40 days, there were seen horsemen running in the air in cloth of gold, and armed with lances, like a band of soldiers, and troops of horsemen in array, all in line, in order, encountering and running one against another, with shaking of shields, and multitude of pikes,